Hey guys, welcome back to another build video for Black Bayou Builds. We are back working here on the boat today. I'll give you a little peek around. This is where it's at right now. You see we got most of the stringer flanges ground down. We're gonna get back in here today, and all of these flanges right here, we got to grind those down all the way down the boat so that we can get ready to put the stringers in. I got my fan set up, kind of janky, but it'll keep most of the dust off of me. We're gonna start in the front and grind all the way to the back. As soon as we get done with that, then we'll be ready to start measuring for our stringers. Got me a little knee pad right there. These are the tools we're gonna use today. It's an old hammer, pry bar, got some trash bags, some gloves, and headphones, of course. Come over here and take a look. We got our blower. We got some fresh flap discs, 40 grit, a few tools in there, gloves, mask, pencil file, a little oscillating tool, a chisel to get the wood out. This is a 5.5 inch grinder with a 7-inch sanding pad, and this is a little 4.5 inch grinder we're gonna put some flap discs on. So here we go, let's get started. All right, I wanted to take a stop and take a little break and show y'all something. Whenever I was grinding down here where this tunnel is, you can see right here where this stringer flange was, you can see a little crack there. This is a big one right here. It's probably 8 or 9 inches long. They've got a little crack in the base of this stringer flange right here. I'm not real sure if it goes all the way through to the bottom, but we're going to address it like it is. So what we're going to do with this from here is you may not have seen me using that little pencil file. My camera went dead, but I'm going to take that little pencil file and that grinder, and I'm going to grind this out a little canyon in here, or a little crevice. We're going to have to come back and put some thickened peanut butter in it, or some thickened resin in it, and then I'm going to have to come back and lay some fiberglass in it and build it back up to try and make it strong. And then we're going to progressively get bigger and bigger and bigger as we go out layer by layer, so we can spread the area of the damage out. And that should stabilize it. It should be much stronger, and it shouldn't crack again. So we'll do that, and then we're going to lay this stringer back right here, so that'll also give it some support, flexing side to side like this. But I just wanted to show y'all that before I continue and get back to it.
Is this all that you dreamed it'd be? Ending up here, ending up with me. Well, you could have gone anywhere, been anyone. Well, you stole my heart like a thief on the run. Taking chances, but you're taking a chance on me. And now we're building bridges as far as the eye can see. And I never thought I'd find anything close to all that I knew you would be. Ain't it beautiful? Dream in color, you're black and white. And I prefer the country, your city lights. But we made our bed and it feels just right.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another update video. I've been having trouble uploading these videos onto YouTube, so I'm still trying to figure it out, but we're gonna get it squared away. We haven't stopped working. I'll show you a little progress that we got done. I finished grinding the stringer flanges out. I ground them all the way down on all sides, and what I did was I had some low spots, so I filled it in with some thickened reinforced resin, some half-inch chop strand fibers, and then whatever wood was left, which wasn't much, and it was good wood, I just resealed it with some epoxy resin and then came back and filled in the low spots. So today we are measuring and test fitting some stringers. Kind of in a dilemma here at the moment, and I can show you what I did. So if you look down the side of the gunnels, there's measurements all the way down. What I did was I took a piece of nylon string and I taped it to the old floor flange where the floor was radiused and tabbed in, and I made sure that the string was at the bottom of it and ran it all the way across here. And I took my tape measure every 2 foot and took a measurement where the old stringer flanges were, and that's how I got the measurements to cut my stringers. So this right here is just the base. I'm gonna put another piece of 3/4 inch on both sides of this piece of 3/4 inch Baltic birch. Originally it only had 3/4 of an inch for the stringers, but I'm gonna triple that so that hopefully we don't ever have this problem again. So this is what I'm doing now. I'm trying to get them level. You can see I got a flat piece of wood on top of the stringers to make sure that it comes up to where that radius was on the existing floor. One thing you'll learn when you're doing a boat, or when you're rebuilding one, is there's nothing in a boat that's level, there's nothing in a boat that's square. This boat is about as level as I can possibly get it, considering what I've got it rested on. So we're just working through this, trying to get it straight, and trying to see where we go from here. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take those stringers out. Well, I'm gonna mark them on both sides with a Sharpie so I know exactly where they were whenever I pulled my measurements. And then I'm gonna pull them out and I'm gonna coat them in resin just to seal them. And then once I get them sealed on the bottom cut and all the end grain, then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna run a bead of thickened resin down the stringer flange where they're set, and I'm gonna set them in place and square them up as much as I possibly can. And then I'm gonna leave that be for about a day and let it cure, and then we'll come back and we'll start fiberglassing over the stringer itself. That way I don't have to fight with it trying to keep it upright while I'm tabbing it in. I'll let that cure, create my radius with squeegee. That way we have a good smooth transition from glass to wood, and hopefully we'll get them tabbed in the next couple of days. Show you some other things that I've done. So I re-glassed the bow eye here. You see they got a big air pocket. This is in just one of the sheets of fiberglass. I had a big air pocket here and a big air pocket here that I filled in with resin. So I need to get this air out of here. It's solid all the way around except here and here. You can hear the difference in that and here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a drill bit, pop a hole in it. I'm gonna take some thickened resin and pour it, squeeze it down in there out of a Ziploc, and then just run it flat over the top. Same thing here. I'll pop a hole in the bottom and a hole in the top, and I'll use a turkey baster to squeeze it in and push all the air out, and it'll at least be filled with thickened resin. And I'm gonna do the same thing down here on the bottom and on the top. That way we can get rid of that air pocket and it'll make it stronger than it is. All I did on the bottom here was, you see, I taped it so the resin wouldn't squeeze out, and then I put some thickened polyester resin on the inside of the keel right here, and then I had a 2x4 that was select treated pine, or not untreated pine, I'm sorry, and I ground it down with my belt sander until I got the radius that I wanted so it fit down in here tight. And that's where we are from now. So we'll get back to work. right, we'll do. All right, guys, we got it marked out. We'll take these out and screw that piece of wood right there, seal them all up, and get them ready to stick in here. Back whenever we start mixing up some resin. One thing that I forgot to show you, I was having trouble whenever I was in the boat moving around, mixing resin and whatnot. So I had this old piece of plate fiberglass, and I put 2 2x4s underneath it so that I could slide this back and forth down. It's a little hung up now, but so you slide it back and forth where you're working so you can put all your resin. And I used it yesterday to lay out some to wet out some triaxial here. I wet it out on the bottom side first, then I put it on top over there so that it would wet out a little easier. This is also the repair that I did. In one of my previous videos, I showed some cracks on the bottom of the hull here. So I came back with some reinforced thickened resin, and I filled in that little low gap right here. And then I filled in the cracks themselves and went back over the area that was messed up and that was cracked with 3 layers of triaxial. So this is the repair here. So what we're going to do is the bulkhead comes for the back side of the fuel tank, comes about right here. So once I get that bulkhead in, and once I get these in, and before I start glassing them, I'm going to reinforce this whole tunnel here with 2 layers of triaxial, the whole length. You can see there I started on that side. I need to do this side, and I'm going to come back on top of it and wrap over both sides. So that's going to be a little bit later. Let's get these stringers working. All right, so we're going to start mixing up some resin. This actually is resin. I got this resin in 5-gallon buckets. So by putting it in a smaller container, it's a lot easier to manage. It's a lot easier to pour and get accurate amounts when you're pouring. We'll put our gloves on, because once you get this stuff on your hands, you can't get it off. My table's kind of a wreck right now, but kind of is what it is when this is going on. All right, so for both of those stringers, on one side of them, I'm gonna mix up. We'll mix up 12 ounces just to make sure that we have enough. And if you go online, you can look up a catalyst recommended ratio, and that'll help you figure out exactly how much catalyst you need. So pour this resin out. It's about 12 ounces. This is an activator that came with my resin. This is MEKP. It's methyl ethyl ketone with peroxide. You can thin resin with MEK. That's just methyl ethyl ketone. I'm pretty sure it's the peroxide in it that allows it to react the way it does. Got a little measuring device here. So even if you get good at it, I still always check and see what the ratio is supposed to be. So we're going to do that real quick. Alright, so for 16 ounces at 1%, it calls for 5 cc's. For 8 ounces at 1%, it calls for 2.5 cc's. We've got 12 ounces, so we're going to mix it to 1.25 at 5 cc's. Alright, so we got 5 cc's of catalyst. Pour it in here. And when you're doing this, make sure you mix it up very, very well. But you've got to keep in mind that once you put your catalyst in there, you're on a time clock. So you want to mix it thoroughly, but you want to do it fairly quickly. Mix this up for about 20 seconds. And about 1.25, you should have approximately 10 minutes of work time with it, which is plenty enough for us to get it spread out. I'm not going to spread this out with a brush because I find it takes too long. So what I've been doing is I've just been kind of pouring out a little bit and moving it around with a squeegee. And you can hold on to your mixing sticks, just set them off to the side and they'll cure, and you'll be able to use it again. So Bondo, squeegee. I'll come over here. I'll start spreading it out. All we're trying to do here is just seal the wood. It's going to suck up some of this. So by doing this, you actually save a little bit of resin, and it keeps you from having a dry layer from the wood soaking the resin out of your fiberglass. It's okay if you get a little drip. You want it to drip over the sides. By spreading it with a squeegee, you can also get it really, really thin, what you want. You don't want any lumps or anything in it. It's going to cure pretty fast because I got it out here in the sun. I can feel it getting hot in my hand already. So just keep in mind you're on a time clock when you start doing this. You want to get it as thin and spread out as possible. And this is just an extra layer of protection. I don't ever want to have to do this to this boat again, so I'm gonna make damn sure that we don't have any water intrusion in the wood. So if you seal it first, it's just an extra layer of protection. Now I will come back and use a chip brush on the edges here, because it's kind of a pain with a squeegee. But I'm gonna get this one laid out here.
You don't have to do it this way. You can use a chip brush if you like. This is just the fastest, easiest way I found to do it. This is what works for me. So this is what I'm doing. It's not the way to do it. There's only a way. Be prepared to make a mess. It still kind of has a line, so you can work it slightly. little bit more. Want it to just stop sucking resin up. That way you know you got a good seal in all the grain of the wood. You don't have to throw these squeegees away. Once this hardens up, you can bend it like this and it'll break all the resin off of it. You get a chip brush. When this screws up good and hard, we'll flip it over and do the other side. Probably won't go like this. Right now, you can. Same grain's going to suck it up real fast too, so you're only doing one at a time. You can just keep going around and around and around. By the time you get back to the other side, it should be all sucked up in